So Sheila and I kind of like talked about how, to go about the program, and we thought it would be really interesting for everyone to have a chance to experience the artwork, and then I can sort of like talk a little bit more about my process and who I am. I mean, some of you are friends, of course, and know me personally, and I'm so happy to meet you all. I can't thank you enough. I can't tell you enough how grateful I am for this. I grew up in Palestine, in Palestine, and I think like the early childhood years, they are very um, core to who we become. I think I read once that we develop our personalities as early as 2 years of age. I can see that. I do work with kids, and I see like how mature, and by mature I mean like with their mind, how kind of connected they are with the world. I do think a lot about Palestine, and I have really like vivid memories of when I was there. Family dynamic, it was we lived in the city of Ramallah, and it's about 15-minute drive north of Jerusalem. And my extended family, so my grandparents originally are from a village um, south of Al Khalil, which is Al Hebron city. So it's south of Jerusalem. I'm very much, of course, influenced by my father and my mother. Kind of a big family. My nuclear family, there's five of us. So I have two sisters and two brothers. And from my mother and my father's side, we have a lot of uncles and aunts. And writing and literature actually was, and art is in our family. I have an uncle who's a calligrapher, Arabic calligrapher, and a lot of my uncles and my aunts are in education and teach language and science. So all of these are like early influences for me. When I was a kid, I drawing a lot and writing, and don't really think about what we're doing. We don't consider it art. But I noticed that till now I draw the same way as I did when I was a kid, which I think is a good thing. I didn't go to an art school during my time at Mills. Actually, that was the first time I was in an art class, like an official art class. So I was in the book art and creative writing track, and I also took some painting classes and drawing classes there. So what changed for me, I think, is just that I have a better awareness now of my process, but it's all very intuitive. It's a really like kind of submerged process, right? And like how one form of art can really like feed into another, and how they come together or complete each other sometimes. Just to go back about like my upbringing, when I was in Palestine, like we just grow up a lot around, there's a lot of contrast and contradictions. And we're in a place like we don't have access to our own land and our own history, our own heritage, our own stories. To go to Jerusalem, which, like I said, it was like a 15-minute drive. It was like very, very difficult. And now things are coming more to light, but at the time it was like not really. There wasn't a lot of awareness among people like what's really happening there. One of my earliest memories is also of the martyrs that we would commemorate, and just a lot of connection with the land and life and death, and they're still, of course, like present. Palestine is kind of like a small country. There's all these like checkpoints and divisions, like even to go from one city to another within the so-called West Bank is very, very difficult. Also traveling, and like I was saying, like this access to your own land and freedom of movement. It's always on your mind. I just remember like when we would go drive the whole family, we often even had relatives staying over. It would be like 7, 8 of us in a car. Every time we would pass a checkpoint, me and my younger brother would duck. And sometimes they would just like force us to go back and we wouldn't even make it to my grandparents' house. But also the road for Palestinians is different. There's this like one particular road, the Valley of Fire, okay? And it's called that because it's a really sharp valley and like a thin road, and it's very dangerous. It's not like a really proper road, and it's the only road for us to go from north of the West Bank to south cities. These things are still in my head. And yeah, so when I was a kid and would draw or something, just like thought of it as like scribble. After October 7th, the reaction of sort of like the world and everything kind of woke me up to my own ignorance. We are so, this colonialism, it's in our education, it's in the mentality. That's why it's really important embracing our independence and creating our own spaces and coming together as communities, even if it seems like it's a small community. That's the light that we have. It's something that we can nourish and grow from, and that's like our strength. I feel like that's the best gift that we have. And that's really what's keeping me afloat these days, having this beautiful, warm, and loving community.
I'm going to make it this short and sweet. Manar and I met at our MFA program, creative writing at Mills College. We were in Oakland at the time, and there was something happening at one of our programs at Mills, the book arts program, which Manar was also a part of, not just a creative writing, but also book arts. And I think at the time there were talks about it closing down. Like everybody was speaking up, talking about how they felt like this was kind of an injustice going on and needed a microphone to really like express themselves. But Manar got up there with no kind of preparation. She had no microphone, but everybody heard her loud and clear. And she spoke eloquently and powerfully. And I remember just looking at her in such a way where this is a person that I definitely want to align myself with. Years later, she's still demonstrating those strengths. She's very comfortable in her artistry that it gets, not is it only just a platform for her, also that's how she kind of moves about in the world.